All right. Hello and welcome to this video. Thank you guys for tuning in and sharing in this now moment with myself, with one another, and the lovely Kate. We're going to just share a little Keep It Simple Star Seeds conversations today. And this is a continuation. We've done a couple of other videos before, and we had the intention of just coming on here and going into a specific subject, and then we changed our minds, which we're allowed to do. Because it's all about being in the moment.
Well, yeah, things move so rapidly, don't they? And I think we were having that conversation like a while ago, so things change.
Yeah. So we've kind of decided to set the intention for today to do a little, maybe some energy work, light language, whatever wants to come through. We've already set our intention that this be for the highest benevolence for all. I like to say things such as in oneness, in unity, in full alignment with source energy. And I'm sharing this with you guys because that way, if somebody else wants to go into their space and they're not sure how to set the tone, that's kind of how I do it. And I also say things like bliss charged and full alignment with the law of one. I don't know if you have anything you wanted to add to that, Kate. Do you have like a ritual that you do?
No, I do pretty much the same. I just ask for the benevolence of all involved, ultimately, but very similar, yeah.
Yeah.
All in oneness.
Cool. For the highest and greatest good. So we kind of set that intention for it to be whatever's most needed in this now moment. And that's generally how I work, and I think you do too. And so we'll just kind of see what wants to come through. Would you like to get started and maybe do some toning and see what comes through? Because I think on the Zoom, it's hard to do it at the same time because it wants to cancel each other out, right?
Yeah. And well, yeah, we'll see if it comes through. It often cuts out the sound, but it doesn't matter because it's the transmission frequency. So
so on that note, I'd like to add too that it's the frequency behind this. So let's say somebody's watching this and it does cut out on the sound or they're not able to fully hear it. It's about going here and being open to receive the transmissions that are coming through source. And we're all connected to this energy. So you can either, and if you don't feel it, that's okay too.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess what we can add as well is this can be a clearing for whatever you want. Like you can use this to this transmission into your house, into your personal space, workspace, or do it as a physical, like your own energetic body clearing. So we can just invite people to use this as they wish, this transmission.
Yeah, I like that. Just setting your own intention for anybody that's watching this. What would you like to basically bring into more harmony? It doesn't even have to be about clearing any particular cords or attachments or entanglements, because some people just want to raise the frequency. So it can be that as well. And in this process, and just by opening to that, it naturally can clear resistance or things like that if someone's open to it.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And not only external, but also clearing out internal. Yeah, this actually has come through twice for me today, the house clearing. So, but house is in metaphorical. So, yeah.
Cool. So do you want to get started or would you like me to get started? It's totally up to you.
You go for it. You go. I'm just going to get in the zone a little bit.
And yours is a little frozen too, so you might have to go in and out and just check back in to see if you're moving on time. Meaning it kind of, you know what I mean? It's that internet connection, I think. Mine does that sometimes too. Connection? No, what I mean is it just, like, it's going in and out a little bit. So sometimes that happens when I start toning too. So I'll kind of open my eyes once in a while and take a quick peek to see if it's still on.
Okay.
So, all right, so I guess I'll do some toning and connecting in with the heart. And I'm just going to invite everybody just to set, kind of just going, not even just go into the heart, just kind of relax and come back into the breathing, taking a nice deep breath in and a long exhale, and just kind of settling into the body. Feet can be on the ground. People can lay down if they want to. Sometimes it's nice to have the feet on the ground though, just to kind of get anchored and grounded. Not the same thing, but similar. Kuoeati stea uk uana heatiana. Ena haik uawaha ana. Ena steo kua ono kua eatiana hekiana ya. Okay. Just kind of allowing yourself to sit with this. And if you're ready, Kate. If not, I can keep going.
Uruyataya turuya popabaya turuyamba pabari tari tarumbo yo boyo yo 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 ya rumbo pari tari antaru yambo boyamba ya papa papa ya tari antari yo 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 So I'm specifically aiming at the throat chakra, actually. This is a transmission for integrity and truth. Uru yatari yantru yamba baba yamba yatara yantru yo yo ya yatara yantru yati kiki kish tara yantru mbo yatara yantri tri 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 ya you 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 And then breathing that into the higher heart, the thymus, in between the throat and the heart. Okay.
So I'm just feeling into this just for a moment. I got a little bit more toning that wants to come through. And then I think we'll be able to. I'm just going to follow this through. Của tè tè wa của tè tè của nè của wa he nai tè tè wa của wa nè. I'm just kind of hearing, allow us to pluck like the strings of a chord, allow us to pluck the frequencies that are out of tune and assist in bringing more in tune, bringing us in tune with our own consistency, our own frequencies, our own bandwidths that are true to our own self connection, to our true self. And so it is. I'm just going to pause this for a minute. So I just paused this for a moment, and Kate and I just had a quick little conversation, and we've decided to keep this going because the energies are such today, and we both are feeling it. And a lot of people out there are feeling a little anxious right now, a little overwhelmed, which people in general could be feeling like that every day, but particularly with what's going on in the world right now. And we're not going to say that what that is specifically right now because we don't want to give any energy to it. But what we do want to do is continue with this theme. And I just want to touch briefly on this toning and the light language. And all of this is just, it's language, like you said, Kate. I would love for you to describe it, then I'll describe it, and then we'll just go back into flow again, if that's okay.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
you said it was soul language. I loved that.
Yeah, a soul expression almost. So I think the word language, we've got such a predetermined expectation for that. And it's like language, the way that we as humans work with language is we break things down into digestible like syllables and symbols and things like that. And quite frankly, when we are receiving frequency, it's a vocal output of that. So it's not like we're necessarily receiving messages. Like psychic, it's very different to when we're receiving a psychic message, which can come through in words or imagery. This is just literally an expression of tone. And I think as well, what's interesting is when we break everything down, all matter in the universe, we break it into light, and then actually beyond light is harmonic frequency. So it is almost like the primordial base foundation of the universe that we are just trying to express as much as we can as humans. But yeah, it's language is probably the wrong way to describe it, because I have people asking me, oh, what language are you speaking? What star system is this? And quite frankly, we are, many of us anyway, we're hybrids of many different galactic races, and it depends what aspect of us is coming through. But if it's like the higher aspect, it's a hybrid, it's a mix of everything. So it's more that you just relax into it and feel it. Don't try to digest it in those logical terms. But yeah, that's what I have to say on it pretty much.
Yeah, and I'm in 100% agreement on that. And I was, part of my writing, the way I write things down, and I mishmash a bunch of things together. That's part of what I was, my guidance team essentially tells me is we're mishmashing all this together so that it can be more digestible. Because over the course of our English language, and even back to the concept of language and what it means, that is different too, because let's just face it, it's communication. Communication does not have to be in a specific letter that only means one thing. It's so much. We could go into so much about what that is. And I've written up a lot of stuff on that. But
yeah,
light is it's just energy.
That'd be really interesting.
I'm in the process of digesting it, so to speak. I write this out and then I look at it going, I have no idea what this means. And my guides say, just trust. And that's how it was when I first started speaking this language. And what happens is once this starts coming out, and I just had a beautiful interaction and session with the light worker the other day who is trying to express, and I said, it was very clear that this person really could empower herself by toning. Everybody can, but there's some people that have got this in them and they just need to feel comfortable in the sound of their own voice even. Yeah. And that voice is it's just one piece of the puzzle of interaction, communication, and energy sharing. It's sound, which holds a harmonic, which holds a vibration, which is a frequency, which also represents color and we could go so many layers with this, right? So while on a linear sense, there are people, and we could probably go back and forth and have a linear conversation in two different, let's call it either ancestral languages, lost languages of ancient Egypt, lost languages that have been lost in translation and we don't even know them, that's in our DNA and blood, or it could be galactic because that's in our DNA as well, right? But that is what I get from all of the things that come through is that's not really what this is about anymore. We are more about feeling and moving into a divine union of all of that and literally making all of that work together, not breaking it into apart pieces. Again, it's fractal, not fractured. So I just wanted to go into that. I went off into a little tangent there.
Yeah. Do you know what is really interesting? We won't do it now, but another time. Let me just see if I have it here.
I'm going to pause. Okay.
Yeah, it's probably back to front with you. But the gene keys, it's really interesting. I'm getting very into it now. And what's made me laugh, and I'd be interested to compare our gene keys, but my purpose turns out, I won't read it, but it's basically, my purpose is basically not to use logical mind at all, just to be pure frequency.
Yeah.
And I just think that is exactly what it is, and just to remove ourselves from everything that we know, which can be scary and can be weird, but I think ultimately, like, we are coming into this state of divine embodiment and new true integrity, and everything has to go. Everything else, everything that we know has to go, and we just have to surrender to the raw emotion and frequency and allow that to come through us. And I think a lot of people are struggling with this. It's coming through a lot of my client sessions, and it seems to be this energy of confusion where people feel a little bit lost and discombobulated. And I think that's just part of the, the old ego layers being like, wait, no, I thought I was this, but.
Yes, absolutely. And I thought this meant that. I thought this meant, and fill in the blanks. And it is that, we have this, we're taught to, even from when we're kids, I don't know about you, but in schools when I was growing up, we were taught to write with our right hand. Like, I was always told, and I think I might have been left-handed. And I remember at one time my teacher teaching me to write with my right hand. And I am ambidextrous. I can write with my left hand.
Oh, wow.
And isn't that interesting? Yeah. And I share that because I'm using the writing as an example because that's what I like to do and you do too, in this flow, but also it's just communication, and in any form, whether it be art, nobody looks at an artwork and says, well, that has to, it doesn't, that language of art doesn't have to have, we've put it into categories. Oh, that's abstract. Oh, that's contemporary. Oh, that is, but realistically, it's just art.
It's
It's
just a
frequency.
creative expression. And I
Yeah.
think, that this conversation is going actually, really interesting places because, ultimately that's what light language is, or that is what we should be. We're moving into that permission state of being unlinear, being just pure creativity.
Right. And that's kind of like we would say, we've been kind of, the beings that are communicating with us, us, are other versions of ourselves, whether they be angelic or whether they be galactic or whether they be our ancient ancestors, that we have connecting with us through the earth, whatever it might be from a perspective of being multidimensional. It's not like they're communicating with us and they're slowing it down for us to be able to understand it, so to speak, and then we're taking that and interpreting it based on this old linear, the best that we can, right? And I'm not just saying just we, but I'm saying as a human race, we'll say. And that's all shifted. So if we want to understand, if we really want to open to what's coming and what's ahead and connecting with our brothers and sisters and really opening that can of worms, so to speak, that wormhole, that connection through past, present, future, then we have to let go of these concepts that keep us in a box and keep us, no, I'm sorry, you can't speak to that. You have to speak English, and it needs to be in grammatical, proper,
Yeah.
And so granted, we can't be walking around and having all this mumbo jumbo conversation that doesn't mean anything. But if the thing of it is we can look someone in the eyes and have a communication. Eye contact is an exchange of information. We don't have to say, all right, now say what you were just communicating to me, because we feel it. Now, granted, we still have to have communication and language, and that's from our linear perspective. But what we're kind of inviting everybody to get out of that concept is of having to say, well, this is exactly. Now, I want to share too, and on that, but I know you do get messages that come through in that energy as well as I do, and others too. But that doesn't mean that's why we're speaking in that. It's to shift and break up stagnation, open the mind, tap into these pockets of remembrance of, oh, this is what this feels like. This is what this could sound like. Oh, and relaxing and just kind of playing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, from with people who have never heard light language before, and, it can feel overwhelming. And, it's like speaking tongues. Some people in church, they start speaking light language, which is also known as tongues. And it's the divine spirit, whatever we want to call that, God, source, coming through. And it's just the way that human form can and deal with that. And I think if we're serious about becoming multidimensional, it's time on this planet for us to ascend. And that means also for us to connect with our star brothers and sisters and cosmic cousins, or whatever we want to call them. And they don't speak English. Well, some of them can understand, but we've got to, that's why it's called light language. It's the universal language of light. And this is the light that runs through the universe. They don't speak English in a different galaxy.
Sure.
So it's like, when you think about it in that term, it's it makes more sense.
And also, since you're saying that, I'm having these flashes of remembrance, and I wanted to bring up light language in general as well, because it is that flash of inspiration. So I know that there's going to be those that go, well, what if it comes through? If we're here about it, we're open, we're receptive. And ultimately, if we're here, then what's coming out is coming from here. If we're in a place of fear or anger or, you know, any word, whether it's all light, even so, meaning it all holds power. So if you are saying things out of anger in English, and all of a sudden you start speaking light language, I mean, are you holding that same frequency? Possibly. And that's where it's like, that would be maybe mumbo jumbo. It may not be having, it doesn't have it's a fractured, parceled off, emotional based mumbo jumbo. Because I've had somebody call it that once and I just always laugh, because if it's fractal and it's something that people can tap into and feel expansion from, just like when we get goosebumps, right? And we're kind of talking about the science right now, actually, of fractality, right? Of not being in this box and just being stuck in our little concept of what things are. It's about, is it shareable? Is it shareable frequency, a wave that assists in others feeling good? If it doesn't feel good, then it isn't something we want to play with. And that comes from what you said in the very beginning, which is integrity and honesty. I think you said that, right? Did you say integrity?
Yeah, integrity, yeah.
So that's where doing, you know, and I guess we're going into a little bit about doing the work. So clearing and really just coming into, I'd say, gratitude to feel good and not be in a place of fear and anxiety, which is why we're sharing this to assist others. This is what it feels like when we tap into multidimensionality, if you're open to that tone. Oh, and it can come in shapes, right? Light flashes of shapes ringing in the ears, tones.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I really believe that, you know, these children who are coming in now and they're so gifted and, you know, perhaps they're being diagnosed as on the autistic spectrum, but some of them are not speaking through their voice, through their vocal cords. They're speaking through their hearts, through their minds, their telepathy. And that's also what I need to say is light language is almost like the bridge to telepathy, because it's still the vocal expression, but it's the feeling and this, it's, so I think that's how we should view it, a bridge to telepathy. And it's about feeling our way in life. You know, it's really, it's becoming so apparent to us who are sensitive here more and more and more. You know, what is an alignment? What is an integrity? This word is coming through so strongly, integrity. And it's like, you don't even need to think about it anymore. You just feel it. If something's out of alignment or out of balance, and, you know, we're becoming so much more sensitive that, you know, we need to feel. We need to feel our way through things. And that's all light language is. It's a transmission of ultimately emotion. And I think that's why, you know, what you said about coming into gratitude, coming into positive vibrations is definitely very important. But I also wanted to say as well, just when you're talking, I remembered that, you know, I just speak it around the house when I'm cleaning. Like, I don't speak it to anyone. Most of the time I don't speak it to anyone. I speak it to myself. And I know lots of other people do that too. And it's like, it's healing. It's so healing. And, you know, we can play with it. We play with it. When I'm speaking and toning, if I had a headache, I'll just set the intention for that frequency, that tone to go into the head, and you can send it into anywhere in the body, anywhere into the physical reality. So I'm just hoovering my house or cleaning and speaking light language and just shifting energy, shifting frequency.
I love that you brought that up, because that's what I do too. And I mean, I just was guided to start sharing these videos, but I don't always speak it. And I don't always, I'm not going to go into the grocery store and walk up to someone and be like, like go into some, because I know it's going to clear the frequency. And that's where that's kind of that playing with it. And I want to go back to that too, because if somebody's not sure, just tone. It doesn't have to be words. Sometimes it's this stuff that wants to come out that's happening from quite a few people, by the way. It's really ironic because I've been seeing the throat, like you did the clearing on the throat earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's been going on for me this week with just people in general, through conversation, or I've been having that feeling like there is this sense people want that to come out, but they're just not sure how or what's going on or why they feel like they have this something stuck in their throat. And that toning, the message I had the other night is it's the voice behind the voice. It's that behind the layer coming from that feeling perspective. Wow. And in addition to that feeling perspective, babies aren't speaking English. They're speaking just gurgle, gurgle, gurgle love, and they're just emitting love because they're in that space. Not just, again, we obviously can speak English and can enunciate and clarify what we mean. So if somebody doesn't speak light language, it's okay. It's not like everybody's going to do this necessarily. They don't have to. It's a matter of singing and painting and sharing in whatever communication from the heart and integrity then raises the frequency and vibration. It doesn't have to be some strange language. It's however each individual feels guided to bring that forward. But it can be chanting, toning, drumming, a rhythm, dancing,
cooking,
anything.
From the heart, anything. Yep. And that's why, it's funny because a lot of what comes through in sessions is, you need to be more creative and express yourself creatively. And it's funny because some people just say, well, that's just not me. I'm not creative. And I just think every single person we are creative beings. We creators. That's what we do. Even if it's just very simple things, like we're constantly creating when we're living in our heart. That's what we're doing. So some people write amazing fiction books, and it's from the heart, and it's filled with code beyond the words, and it takes you on these journeys, and that's light language as well. So I guess people don't need to think it's just the written or the spoken. It's anything.
It can be communication. I love that. And also on all of that, so I was just saying I was going to rein it back in, and Kate goes, no, just say what you need to say. So I wanted to share that earlier you had mentioned, and I love the fact that you're bringing up like people are like, I'm not creative. And I think what's happened is, again, back to people that being very linear and thinking, well, this has to be done in this certain particular way. And one perspective is, yes, if two people are speaking in a language and they're trying to communicate on a linear level, then there needs to be some form of understanding there. That's not why we're doing this. We're doing this because it's creative self-expression that we're pulling from our DNA, our own codes that we are expressing in this form. And we get each other. And we understand each other, just as when I look into a baby's eyes, I understand what they're sharing with me. Or I understand, I had an amazing star child that I worked with the other week. And I just looked at her in her eyes and I was like activated. And I get goosebumps. That's how it works. Beings that are extrasensory speak telepathically. So I feel like we can go into so many different places because we touched on creativity. We touched on the fact that this is not a linear way of being. And we also touched on autism, which I think is huge, and the multidimensionality, which that can be a whole other video in itself. But I'm tying this all in because all of these different variations of light workers are on the planet right now to bring through their own flavor in this massive soup And it's time to stop saying that these are the only ingredients that we can put in our soup, because then that takes us back to this, boxed way of thinking. So if the flavor isn't your flavor, that's okay.
Yeah.
But we're being invited not to judge, because that drops a frequency right there by telling someone you can't do that. It doesn't work. Maybe not for
Yeah.
you. And I'm not saying you, anybody, I'm just saying in general, as a human being.
Yeah, exactly. And, that's triggering me to say, we need to break free of the conditioning of separation.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we're talking about languages, like the fact that this world has been set up in a way with borders and different languages, that's another conversation.
That's another 2-hour video.
Yeah, it's something to consider. And it's just, it's time now to accept the differences and, and to receive through the heart.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what we're doing. And to stop judging if we don't understand it with the logical brain, it doesn't make it weird or it doesn't make it bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it's so important for more and more people to come forward and to express their light language, whatever that is, painting, create any kind of creativity. And we need to spread this. We need to spread it like a virus of light.
I love that you just said that. Oh, that gives me the giggles.
Like a virus of light.
Right.
And we need to fight back against any form of separation and yeah. So if
it's
anybody
honoring. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to just encourage and invite everybody watching this, if you feel inspired to begin toning or chanting or speaking or whatever creative, get it out there as well on a platform. And let's use social media in a positive way.
Yeah. And just it's kind of like that whole idea of again, now this was something I know when I started getting onto YouTube, I mean my friends, God bless them, I love them all, but some of them were like, what are you doing? And I was like, what am I doing? Even now sometimes I go, I cannot believe I'm about to hit. But bottom line is it's me and it's my expression, and I am hoping the same thing, like this will inspire others to express. I mean, it could be as far as someone just going and working with crystals that's never worked with crystals. Maybe that's their form of interaction or creativity. And it's not even about that, it's about creative expression. And I wanted to just touch on this briefly, because this happens a lot too for me in conversation with people that don't know what their creativity is. And that's okay. Just start practicing something, because just that step outside of that box will lead you through synchronicity to figure out what that creativity might be. And it can be just from listening to these videos and then feeling inspired to go sit down and color in a coloring book. And that's simple.
And also it's like, what would you do if you had no worries or self-limiting beliefs or fear? So that's one question. What would you do if all those things? And secondly, who do you admire? Who in the world do you admire? And then ask yourself why that is. And that's probably because they're expressing themselves in a certain way that resonates with you. So it's all about finding that resonance and following that.
Yeah. And also you brought up getting into the heart. And I think we've talked about this before, but it's so important, because a lot of people, how do I get in my heart when when it's crazy and all this craziness is going on, and I'm so sensitive and I'm picking up on everybody's emotions, and we don't know this and we don't know that. And I always come back to, part of the ways that you can do that is by doing stupid things. Watch a stupid movie, go color in a coloring book, watch somebody that you admire, start journaling, dance around the house. And we're not suggesting that maybe you don't necessarily want to go streaking in the quad, but we're not necessarily suggesting that, by the way. but you certainly could do it around your own house and feel free and just dance and go with the flow.
While you're hoovering and cleaning.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to post it and share it right now, but it could mean that you're building up for something bigger. And I want to just go backwards. I was guided a long time ago to start creating soaps. My friend, make a long story short, that's not what I was supposed to do. But guess what it did? By me creating and being in that space of just focusing on that, and I think focus was something that you had been talking about, or maybe anyways, and giving us something to pull us out of the chaos that's going on and come back into something that feels good, working with our hands, working with our body and movement, connecting with animals and food and earth.
Using the senses to explore and create, and exactly, it's just can be the most simple thing, but it lights that flame, it lights that spark of creativity, and just keep going with that. And I think it's a hard one to answer this, because, you know, I've always been creative. It's something that's come so naturally to me. So it's hard, actually. It's hard for me to almost give that advice, because I'm always thinking with my creative mind. But
me too, yeah.
I suppose that would be what I would say, and just, you know, maybe come into meditation and let go of the logical mind. As soon as you let go of the logical mind and give yourself permission to let go, guess what? The creative mind comes online. So yeah, if you're really stuck with how to do that, probably just come into meditation, find your center, and then have fun, and just say, I'm gonna explore the world. I'm on a creative adventure. Like every day, I'm gonna look at things in a creative way. Like I'm gonna look for 10 things that I like the look of, something that I like the look of, like some, you know, to ignite that creativity. Go to an art gallery, start getting those creative pieces flowing, and bring them into your field.
Yeah. Take a piano lesson. I mean, you could get a musical instrument and learn how to play a musical instrument off of YouTube, you know, and it's not about the musical instrument. You might go through frustration. I can't do this, but guess what? You just tried. And what that did was that told you what's not for you. And that helped pull one thing out of your box so that you could, but you know, maybe I would like to try, because by you going and looking this up, you got into contact with maybe artwork and you thought, oh, that looks like fun. That's your trigger right there.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be about, oh, this is the end all be all do all. Now I have to meditate. Well, listen to some music and go into relaxation. And then if that leads you into, I really like this artist. Ooh, they're playing at a live concert. Oh, they're going to be in this particular place in the world. I've always wanted to go there. And so it unrolls from there, right?
Yeah, and that's so true. Travel and, you know, getting out in nature. There's nothing more creative than nature. Mother Earth, all those flowers and plants and those landscapes, and just go and be with that, and that is inspiring in itself. But also another thing that I always say to people is, you know, think back to your childhood. And I know not everybody had the nicest childhoods, but think there's something that you loved. Something that you loved, or at least something that you wished you could have done, that excited you. And because that's coming from that innocence, that childlike creativity. So that's always a very good indication of a little bit of actually what we're here to do. I think when we're children, we're intuitively drawn to things that we're here to do.
I love that.
And it's all creative. There isn't one person here who is not meant to be creative. Everything about being a human is creative. We are divine creator beings.
We are. So there's so much more we could go with this, and I would love to. Do you want to end with a little toning continuation of toning and going back and forth a little bit?
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay. And I think we're going to have to continue this conversation and get a little linear and break it down and then expand on those linear concepts. Because you guys, this is all about spreading the light and spreading the love. We're not always going to feel creative. We're not always going to feel like we can do whatever, fill in the blanks. It's about being present and being in the moment and being in integrity, which means, is this for the highest and greatest good for myself and those around me? Myself and those around me, not the people around me, because ultimately it's a connection of the two. And also it's about letting go of that whole, because you had talked about, and that's another conversation topic. I'm thinking of the science of the lizard brain and the bird dog brain and that combination, because we've been in this survival mode for so long. And I want to just touch briefly on this, because I think that's part of what's coming up, is that lizard brain is going through a metamorphosis right now. And what happens is it's like this, and this is creating this burst of fear, anxiousness, anxiety, lack of control. Well, who do I give my control to? Who's controlling me? Borders, boundaries. And I think it's really important just to set our tone, so to speak, that our boundaries are not about setting up this box and saying this is how things have to be. It's about us being in such a space that we are so integrated that we understand the right thing to do. We are in integrity and impeccability to where we know that's not right, because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel appropriate. And we're in that process, I think, of not just learning that and realizing it, but embodying it. And so that's where that science comes in that we didn't quite get to, which we'll save for maybe the next video. But I see that there's a lot of Kundalini activations going on. There's a lot of fast clearing in the collective, and that throws more spice into the soup, right? And then in addition to that, there's that bird brain that wants to merge with that lizard brain. And as we ascend, as we evolve, which are not necessarily the same thing, but you get where I'm going with this, then there becomes this, how do we do that? And creativity and laughter and bliss and joy are the only ways that we're going to be able to merge those.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I love that. I am blown away with that analogy of the lizard brain. Like that part of the brain that likes to control, that is the part that's freaking out right now.
Yeah, like we cut off its tail.
Going on. Wow, I didn't even think about it like that. That's so profound. That message really is important for people.
That's what I've been feeling, and I think we've all been expressing this in our own way again. And having said that, it isn't about judgment about that part of us, just like we don't judge the ego. We love, we integrate, we recognize, and play.
Exactly. And I think that's it, isn't it? It's just, if we understand ourselves a little bit better, we can recognize where that's coming from, and it helps, doesn't it? But yeah, that's very interesting. I agree. I think that's exactly what's happening right now. It's we're activating different parts of ourselves, and those other parts that have been more active over our lifetimes are definitely kind of losing control and freaking out. But yeah.
And as within, so without. So we're seeing a reflection of that in our society and what's going on. And so the more we,
yeah. And I think this is also, very interesting, and people are feeling this more now. So on that note of telepathy, it's like, first of all, we're going to be feeling everybody else's stuff. So, we have a responsibility for others right now to clear our own stuff, because we are, our stuff is going into the hive mind, the collective consciousness, which is ultimately the atmosphere of this planet. And it's all just a mesh. So if we're clearing our own stuff, it's going to be sending out the clearing into the collective consciousness, which is so beautiful right now with what's going on, because we're spreading our virus of light into the collective consciousness. Like this video right now is a clearing. So yeah, it's becoming aware that everything's becoming a bit merged, united, and yeah, maybe we should go into our toning.
Let's do it. So would you like to get started?
Yeah. Okay. Actually got my crystals here.
Do you want to share what types of crystals you're using?
So I'm using this is an Andara crystals. Yeah, they're the crystals I'm kind of drawn to at the moment, but I chop and change depending on the energy. But yeah, I'm using Andara crystals, which are kind of they're just pure light. They're very high vibrational.
And we can talk about that later in another video. Absolutely. I just wanted to kind of share like what colors you're being drawn to right now, what you use to,
okay, because interestingly, pink and green heart chakra. So I've got the pink here. Oh, and moldavite.
Oh yeah.
And green. So that's kind of what I was going for, pink and green heart.
I love it. Nice. And it's so funny. I just, as you say that, I see brown. It's like you're helping to clear out the muddled.
Right. Yeah.
If you've ever mixed pink and green together. Anyways. It might make another color. I don't know why I just thought of brown. But anyways. So I'm just going to sit and let you do your thing.
Okay. Uya I satai ua. I kia shato uya u kia ua. Uya ua a. Shuya utia. Huru ya tia satari ndua. Ia ua ia u. Wishitia ua kia.
we neste kiawa teniawa wawa nawa kuawea de tiau kuno wahwai testene de do kuawae testene ki ine kiawa huakua nehe no no ki neste ki hanne kuawaha neste kuawaha nei now no kuona Keoa hetia ki ent este ek kuaha ndahe estoa awakua ki tinehi Gunoe tiste hik ik anahe uakuat et isterehek ik anahastarahet estara urrestanehek istara estara ki duarahastara endarehes tistarahak eandaraha ur Kuawahe titi stene heki andahe et este anahat iki ti enahet este ki enehe awaku anehe et I ene este ki ena kuawahe et arehe ki anehe este uawa et ki enehe awa uawaha ana ki enehe anahe este uawahe enehe iste ki anehe este I ak uahe ene So, a little light language, a lot of love.
That was so beautiful and so activating. Wow. Like just bouncing back and forward like that.
Yeah, it's really fun. So a little English, a little messages were coming through. I don't always go into those messages though, because when we're in that flow, it's like that is the frequency.
Mm.
Even the interpretation of the messages that come through can be linearized, and they can be interpreted in so many different ways. And so I just wanted to go into that really briefly, that what we're essentially doing is sending in this spin cycle, so to speak. And we're spinning in these frequencies and these webs, so to speak, that are connecting into and anchoring into the grid system through this version of our reality system that essentially sends feedback to the central nervous system, so to speak, and the electrical currents that are our bodies. And so this is essentially a codex that is playing with our codexes, that is playing with our codons, that is firing our I'm hearing from tailbone to crown. And when we say that we're clearing these frequencies, what it's basically doing is it's tapping into where people are kind of in that disarray, and it's pulling in their homing signal of their own ray, so to speak, of their own frequency. And that's one of the beautiful things about hybrids and people that are connecting into multi, like that's part of the reason that all of these different frequencies and tones come through, because the human being is a mutt. So all of these different frequencies that we're sharing are going to connect with different layers, so to speak.
Mm.
So anyways, so we can invite everybody to just take some deep breaths in, and I'm going to just kind of pause this for a moment. And I just wanted to say, before we go briefly, I know you're doing a workshop. Would you mind just maybe talking a little bit about that so that we can share with everybody what you've got going on? And I know it was a lot about the divine feminine. It originally has it morphed. What's the...
Oh, you mean my trip?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. So,
Well,
yeah,
I
I
call
have
it a workshop, but...
yeah, I have a trip coming up. It's going to be September. It's actually over in your area of planet Earth, over in America. So it's yeah, wow. I'm just very high off those energies right now. But yeah, it's been a really magical journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a magical journey. I've just felt this huge calling to Mount Shasta. And I recently found out that I work with Mount Shasta energetically, so I carry nodes within my DNA, which so many of us do, to multiple geographical locations, both celestial and earth-based. So yeah, I'm going to be taking a small intimate group of people, women over, I think it's women, that's to be confirmed. But over to Manchester, the dates I think are the 17th of September to the 23rd. So we're going to be there for the equinox, which is cool. And yeah, it's going to be an amazing journey of working very much with the earth, which I'm being called to do more. So really anchoring in these celestial frequencies, working with the grid. We're going to be working a lot with the crystals, visiting lots of sacred sites. It's just going to be quite beautiful and magical.
Of course.
And yeah, I hope you can pop over and...
We'll see. I would love to. It's on my radar for sure. I have, as you know, a few trips I'm planning, and it's a matter of finding the space to squeeze everything in, and of course, timing as well. But I'll share a link just because I wanted to express anybody that feels called to share that would be, it's going to be a magical trip.
Yeah.
I really hope I can make it because that would be amazing. But at this point, I have no idea. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. So I'll post that link just in case anybody is watching this is really drawn to your work or to Mount Shasta or to, and it's balancing out again that those energies that have been a little out of balance, it seems like, and it's going to be much more than that though, so much more.
Totally. Yeah, and I should have said this. It's going to be a lot of portal work. So I'm going to be working to open up the portals. It's a group. It's going to be a group effort. It's amazing. Like, the people who are coming already are so powerful. So it's got to be a lot of portal work and a lot of different ceremonies. So we're going to be working with a variety of different, like, cacao and mugwort, some different plants and things.
Cool.
So yeah,
and magic wands.
light language, of course.
Yeah. So very cool. I will share that if anybody's interested. I'm just going to I guess we'll sign off. Maybe you can hang out for a minute. I guess, yes, hang out for a minute. But in the meantime, we're just sending everybody a lot of love and light. And thank you so much for just sharing in this experience with us, because this is so important for all of us to connect in and make each other feel, assist each other, not make anybody do anything, but assist each other in feeling good and expanding our consciousness and connecting with Mother Earth and exploring our creativity and all of this. And that's what we're all here to do, is create this support system out of sovereignty and out of, from our own space of creativity and integrity and impeccability, right?
Yeah, and I think that's so beautiful. And I think, ultimately it's about coming out, speaking your truth, so that we can unite and do this together, because we are here together. And it's about building this beautiful support network. I think you said, I love that.
Yeah. So we're going to end on this note, and in love and light, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Namaste.
Thank you.